Martha is also the founder of one interesting institution which name is World Newsmedia Network, if I don't have a mistake. And she will update us on the trends on all the digital media. I mean, her presentation will be very quick on the disposition of everybody, but you may take note of her numbers, figures, statistics, which design a present photograph of the situation of the different digital media, and not having less to add until tomorrow in the opening ceremony. I give the floor to Martha. Martha, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Xavier, and congratulations to Bertrand for all of his hard work and for everyone on the GEN team who have done such a marvelous job in their tireless efforts to make this a great conference. I'm really pleased to be able to present to you the PowerPoint that's here, I suppose, and I'm going to need a changer as well when you get the chance. Thanks. Thank you. So, as you know, the theme of the conference is really the four-screen strategy, which is all about how are we going to be publishing in the future and the present on all of these different channels. How can we reach our audiences in new ways and in better ways, in more effective ways, through mobile, tablet, internet, IPTV, and beyond? And I'm going to attempt to answer those questions today with statistics, which isn't always the forte of journalists, right? Numbers aren't always our favorite thing, but they've become my favorite thing because all of a sudden when you have powerful sets of data, that can show us our future. And it can help us strategize so we can put our journalism on any channel depending on what works for your audience and the geography that you work in. As Xavier said, I run a nonprofit media research organization called World Newsmedia Network. We've been producing research for over a decade now for various organizations, now our own organization. And we have a number of research partnerships that allow us to do the work that we do. We produce fresh research on our own using surveys, but we also have multiple big-name research companies that we partner with that share their data with us. We aggregate it and make sense out of it and make charts out of it so that you can understand where the trends are going so that you can make better decisions about your future. Among those names may be familiar to you, like PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Zenith Optimedia, Nielsen, ComScore, Pew. Those are just 5 of the 65 partners that we have. And the one that I'm going to talk about, the one research project that we've been doing now for 7 years, I'm going to talk about today is Global Digital Media Trends, 2012. You'll be the first to see the preview of this research report that will be done in September. It will have 500 data sets, charts, about digital media of all types, sliced and diced in so many different ways, and 300 pages, full color, that will show you the way. Plus all kinds of dozens of case studies about many innovations around the world. And I'm going to get started now with some of the information that we have produced. I'm only going to show you 20-something charts, even though we're going to have 500 charts, so you just get an idea of the magnitude of this project. We're going to break it down into media landscapes, media usage patterns, and media revenue making, which is so very important. Even though we're journalists, we need to know how are we going to pay for that journalism. And I'm going to show you how the landscape of advertising and subscriptions have changed and are changing as we speak. Every year we do the digital hotspots graphic. This year the map has changed. And what we do is we basically map mobile and internet penetrations in every country of the world using CIA data that has like-for-like data, so we can compare it reliably. And so what we have here is really deep penetration of mobile and internet in the countries you would suspect that you hear a lot about. In Europe and in North America, Australia and parts of Asia, and a little bit in South America and Northern Africa. But I can tell you that when we started this 7 years ago, this map looked a lot different. It was only Northern Europe, like Scandinavia, nothing in Asia, nothing in South America, nothing going on in Africa at all. And so year by year, the spread of high penetrations of mobile and internet have grown. So what you're seeing here is high penetrations of mobile and internet in red, and then just in mobile, the numbers are very high in the countries that you see in gold, and then green are hot mostly in internet. This doesn't mean that they're not also having a substantial amount of mobile, by the way. We just go by the numbers, which is 75% penetration for internet and 40% penetration for mobile. That's what all of those numbers mean. And then blue is the area where we're not getting so much traction in those media compared to other countries. Now, in terms of other landscape issues, social networking, of course, is huge. And how many of you are putting social media into your media mix in your companies today? Social media of some sort. A lot of you are. Good. Because, of course, as we know, the trends are going up, up, up. And with this iDate information, here in 2012, the second to last bar, you see almost a 66% penetration of all internet users across the world. And it will go up to, in 2015, past 70% of all internet users using social networking. Now, when you look at mobile internet, which is a huge opportunity for journalists, right? Because you have the opportunity to publish on a new channel. And as these numbers go up for mobile internet, so do your opportunities in a big way go up for publishing on this new platform. How many of you publish on mobile today in some form, at least in a small amount? And pretty soon, hopefully, as the internet, mobile internet becomes more robust, you're able to do more and more sophisticated things like mobile video, for example. But as you can see, North America and Europe are pretty much neck and neck in terms of the mobile internet services. And this means, in this case, we're talking apps for mobile services, for example. So this is in millions of euros, the numbers that you see. But wait, if you look at Asia Pacific, they are going to double between 2012 and 2015 in a few short years. Mostly due to the high penetrations in China, for example, which takes a large share compared to the rest of Asia Pacific. And then also Japan represents, and always has represented, a lot of innovation going on in terms of apps and electronic sophistication. Now we have iDate, which is here in France, and which is the provider of a lot of global data as well, shows us mobile customers and mobile handsets. And I wanted to show you the difference between the two because the numbers are different, mostly because, and many of you here in Europe know, that many of us have more than one handset. And so if you look at the numbers for most countries of Europe, and other countries too, but mostly in Europe, you find that there's more than 100% penetration of mobile customers in each country. And that's because many of us have more than one handset. But you can see that the numbers are going up here. And what that means to us as journalists and as news organizations is that the opportunity for mobile is just going up, up, and up. And then this is also a very important number as it relates to fixed internet, that is on your computer. And that's because the opportunity to publish on internet is more important in most places in the world than any other publishing, bar maybe tablet for the future. just by usage patterns, by our study of usage patterns. There's probably, at least for the short term, going to be a better usage pattern uptake on the internet for the foreseeable future. But you can see that these numbers are also going up, particularly in the developing world. Why? Because the developed world is starting to level off because it is so highly penetrated. So in North America and Europe, and the numbers that you're seeing, the numbers are slowing down as time goes on, and that's because the penetrations are still so high. Whereas, if you go to a place like Asia Pacific and you look at China, for example, the numbers are growing astronomically as more installations of broadband are happening, as well as India, as an example, Latin America, and certainly in Africa. Lots of opportunity there for installations of broadband, and therefore a lot of opportunity for publishing on fixed internet, that is, on computers in these places. And then, of course, IPTV. The opportunity for IPTV right now is the highest right here in this country, the potential for IPTV. But in other places, it's a little slower in the uptake. Doesn't mean that it's not happening, it is, but in France, it is really taking hold, as you can see from the numbers. But also, there is an opportunity here in so many of these countries, and by the way, you're going to get a copy of this, so you don't have to look at every single number and memorize it. You'll get these and you'll be able to pore over them and see what applies to you. But as you can see, the opportunity in Asia and parts of Europe are really great for IPTV for the foreseeable future. And if you look at it in a different way, you can see that in terms of television, in terms of video, what you see is an opportunity in 2011 compared to coming up in 2015. You see diminishing terrestrial TV usage, whereas in this case they call it share of viewers. So diminishing terrestrial TV, which is traditional TV, and a surge of usage in satellite and also in IPTV. In the dark color, you see a doubling of IPTV as a smaller opportunity. But nonetheless, interesting, particularly, I have to say, in Europe and in Asia. Now, let's bounce over to media revenue trends, and we'll see where the opportunities are for revenue. Well, we all know that the opportunities for revenue are diminishing in traditional media, right? In fact, they're going in the negative territory for newspapers. If you look at the year-over-year figures, there's 0% growth in television, and you see all kinds of opportunities for digital forms of media, particularly internet, wired, and mobile, and also video games, as an example. Bertrand, earlier today, we were having a chat about news gaming. That might be an opportunity, knowing that gaming is such a big deal and a big potential. So you see that we're coming out of the slump of 2009. The numbers are starting to go up as an aggregate, but still the traditional media aren't looking good. Therefore, we have to come up with ways to monetize the digital media. Let's look at online advertising as a market worldwide, and we can see that the markets of the 27 countries of the EU, for example, are similar to North America, but then the opportunities in Asia Pacific for the future are very great. Traditionally, the strong markets for online advertising have been the developed countries of North America, Europe, and Japan. Those are the biggest advertising markets traditionally. But that's starting to change in a big way, and now the developed world is starting to kick in with the advertising opportunities online. Now let's break down and underscore the idea that every single market is different in the way they break down in opportunities. So what's happening in the US does not translate always to what's happening here or elsewhere in Asia and Africa or what have you. And this really underscores that fact. Half the market of online dollars today are going to the social networks, in terms of the new platforms, that is. But when you look at mobile and video, they're going to kind of sort of take a quarter each by 2015, according to iDate statistics. But in Europe, it's more of an even game for the three: mobile, social networks, and video. I think that's a healthy thing. When one channel or when one type of medium has taken over, and it is an unhealthy situation in the United States. I wish I had statistics to show for the rest of the world, but those are the two that iDate provided. Now, the online advertising landscape, just to sort of take a look at what's going on in the US, you'll see that half are pure play for the local online advertising dollars, which for many of us who are from local newspapers and so on, this is meaningful because local advertising, no matter what the form, is going on the upswing for sure. And this is actually a great opportunity, according to all the statistics and anecdotes and case studies that we've seen. There is a great opportunity here for you. But in the US, half are coming from pure play, which is Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, Facebook. Whereas roughly a quarter of the dollars are going to newspapers, and then about 10% or so going to local TV, and about 11% going directories like Yellow Pages. Now, if you look at Twitter, there's a huge opportunity here as well. So you have all kinds of dramatic upswing in Twitter. The percentage change, although it looks like a deep swing, we're starting off at 233% year-over-year growth at the beginning. Now it's leveling off to just 36%, still in the double-digit territory and still really huge going into 2014 and beyond. It should be even stronger. I'm asked to go a little bit faster. So now mobile advertising also, as you can see, a dramatic upswing. Percentage change still in the double-digit range. A big opportunity for us as well in terms of money making. We have to get into the game. We can't let the pure plays and the telecoms take that money from us. We should take the opportunity and run with it. Now in terms of consumption patterns, user consumption of different media, I find this really interesting and powerful because the usage patterns in your market are different than mine, are different than the person sitting next to you. And so Pew does a really interesting study about what's going on in the United States that shows that of the three screens, which we're talking about here in this conference, you've got 34% of the desktop and laptop users also using news on a smartphone. This is all about news. 17% of the desktop, laptop news consumers also get news on a tablet, and 27% of the smartphone news consumers also get news on a tablet. And meanwhile, 5% get news on all three. So I don't know if this is like your market, but this is really sexy. And this also tells us that there's an opportunity to do cross-media campaigns to reach those consumers who are conspicuous consumers of news. Now, when you break down smartphone usership on the internet, and people who use their mobile daily to reach the internet across the world, you can see that there's a dramatic shift or a dramatic increase from 2010 in blue to 2011 in green, according to IDC, in all of these different countries across the world. And if you jump into mobile video viewers, you can see in the US that there is also a dramatic increase. This is only over the space of a year and a half, ladies and gentlemen, so this doesn't look very big, but this is only, Nielsen basically tracked this only over a year and a half. Now, if you look at the top Facebook countries, it directly parallels population in this case. So some of the most populous countries in the world are the most conspicuous consumers of Facebook. And if you compare US Facebook and Twitter users, you can see the dramatic difference of users. Almost done. And then download, what are the countries that download apps the most? Well, you can see in the upper right-hand corner, South Korea by far is the biggest conspicuous consumer of downloading apps, next to US, Sweden, South Africa, Russia, Canada, Mexico, and Japan. Now, in terms of getting local news on your tablet, it is among the most popular things that people prefer using their tablet for compared to using their computer. And I think we're going to see more of this. As the tablet takes hold as a medium, and as more and more people get them, they're going to prefer to use your tablet to get to your news. And almost done, we have PCs still the most important used digital devices for news. So you can see that desktop and laptop users are still the medium of choice for news compared to smartphones, tablets. And I kind of circled this one. IDG has basically polled professionals who have now said across these different continents that they now prefer to use their tablet rather than newspapers. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the gloomy statistics about diminishing newspapers. And last but not least, the share of digital device traffic for news on the weekdays, if you compare smartphones, tablets, and desktops, what we see is a very interesting pattern over the space of the day. You see a real dip for all the digital devices in the morning, but the middle of the day when people are having lunch at work, they're checking their devices, particularly their desktop, followed by their tablet and their smartphone. And in the evening, they're preferring their tablet. So here's just a few, I'm going to skip that one. Here's just a few slides for you to get a feel for the landscape today for digital media. And if you want a copy of our 300-page report that comes out in September, please give me your card, write on it World Digital Media Trends, and I will send you a copy in September. Thank you very much for your attention.